It is another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the two movies of July 7th, 2006. Two movies in particular. One is one of the biggest sequels of all time, and the other is one of Richard Linklater's more underrated movies, if you will. But let's get to the first movie we have here, and that is, of course, the biggest new release of the weekend, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest.
You have a debt to pay. You owe Davy Jones your soul. That was the agreement. Time's up. You're a marked man, Jack Sparrow.
On deck, all hands! Scurry! High master!
I was nothing more than an almost innocent bystander.
You won't be able to talk your way out of this one.
Jack Sparrow is a dying breed. Jack must find a place in the new world or perish.
What about Jack? I can't leave without him! Never mind, let's go!
So, of course, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest is the sequel to The Curse of the Black Pearl, which was one of the big surprise hits of a couple of years ago. And obviously, the man was very high for the sequel because not only did this movie become a success, it was a massive success. I mean, this thing made $135 million in its opening weekend, which by today's standards isn't anything too significant. But in 2006... this was the highest opening weekend in the history of Hollywood. It surpassed Shrek 2. It surpassed, obviously, Spider-Man, which I should have said first. But, yeah, having a weekend this big was unprecedented at the time. And it was actually the fastest film ever at that time to gross over $1 billion at the worldwide box office. And essentially became the highest grossing film of the year. Of course, the fan base from the first film was still there. But was it really that good? Let's delve into the plot here. Once again, we plunge into the world of sword fights and savvy pirates. Captain Jack Sparrow, once again played by Johnny Depp, is reminded he's owed a debt to Davy Jones, played by Bill Nighy, who captains the Flying Dutchman, a ghostly ship with a crew from hell. Facing the Locker, Jack must find the heart of Davy Jones, but to save himself, he must get the help of Will Trent and Elizabeth Swann, Orlando Bloom, and Keira Knightley from the first film. If that's not complicated enough, they're sentenced to hang unless Will can get Lord Cutler Beckett Jack's compass. Yeah, Lord Cutler Beckett Jack's compass. Good lord, crazy name there. Will is forced to join another crazy adventure with Jack. And in the movie, I think a lot of the charm and humor that was in the first film is really taken away in exchange for a plot that's getting a little bit more ridiculous and more cliched. But it's got a ridiculously long running time of nearly 2.5 hours. A lack of any real sense of adventure or spectacle compared to the first movie. I mean, there are moments where sometimes the jokes still work overall. Like, I like that scene in the trailer where Will's just like, what about Jack? I can't leave without him. And you see Jack just running away from all these people behind them. And he's just like, never mind, let's go. Like, stuff like that I think is very funny. But it also should be noted that this film was shot back-to-back with At World's End, because The Matrix was doing it at the time. Everyone thought that was going to be the next big thing, and it really didn't become the next big thing until Harry Potter essentially made it work. But, of course it started with Back to the Future back in the 80s. But take note of how this movie looks so bright and more lighter than what comes next, because At World's End just goes ahead and just takes this massive sudden change of tone between the two films. Like, this film is 100% light and happy. The next one, oh boy, it gets really, really dark and grim. Also, I should note that this is actually the first movie with the Disney logo that we had before this new one that came out during the 100th anniversary. Like, Disney replaced the long-time logo that started off their movies with the CG logo created by Weta Digital, and they went on to be used for 16 years until, of course, Disney's 100th anniversary came around. To the movie's credit, there are still things I like about it. The visuals, I think, are still very impressive. Johnny Depp's Jack Sparrow can still get a good couple one-liners here and there. Some of the jokes can still be funny. The action can still look very good. Hans Zimmer's score is overall well done, but I didn't think it quite lived up to par with the first film. There's definitely effort being put in there, but it's obviously a straight-up cash grab sequel to trying to continue the story. Not a bad movie, but not a great one either. And I guess I would take this over At World's End easily, but we'll save that for next summer. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and move on to the last one we have here, Richard Linklater's A Scanner Darkly.
It may just be my imagination. Whatever it is that's watching, it's not human. What does the scanner see? Into the head? Into the heart? Does it seem to me clearly or darkly?
Damage has taken place to the normally dominant left hemisphere, and the right hemisphere is attempting to compensate.
Two hemispheres of my brain are competing. I could be murdered.
What if they come in through the bathroom window like that infamous Beatles song?
To sacrifice someone without them ever knowing it.
God damn, that's a long Charles Schwab commercial. I mean, remember back in the day when Charles Schwab had those rotoscoping commercials? It was literally, I think it's the same animation style. I don't know if it's actually the same company that worked on this in Waking Life, but you ever see those commercials? It literally looks like the animation that they're using in this movie. But this is A Scanner Darkly, and this is based off the Philip K. Dick story, and it tells the story of identity and deception in a near-future dystopia constantly under intrusive high-tech police surveillance in the midst of a drug addiction epidemic, which pretty much became our let's be honest, it pretty much became what it is now in general, because, like, a lot of the stuff that's in this movie, honestly, can be pretty much accompanied for what we have today, but like with Waking Life, this uses rotoscoped animation, which is, an animation technique in which animators trace over the original footage frame by frame for use in live-action animated films to give the film a distinctive animated look. And again, Richard Linklater did this 5 years prior to with Waking Life, which that was a good movie overall. But I really like this one a lot. I think it's a very good movie, one of his more underrated films in general. And I think it is because of the animation and how just fluid it looks. And you also have a strong cast that includes Keanu Reeves, Robert Downey Jr., Woody Harrelson, Winona Ryder, and just it's a really incredible looking movie. Like, it's a movie where you can just see all the appreciation, the animation that went into this, and it's just like, this is a movie that really doesn't need to be animated, but for what they're trying to get across here, I think the rotoscope animation works very well here in what the technology can do with a story like this. You have people who are literally shape-shifting, and they're not even really doing anything. They're not really doing anything themselves. It's just happening as the movements go on, and it's just as the scene goes on. And it's very, very well done. It's really stylized, really cool how they're able to make it work, and it's a really, really damn good movie. One of Richard Linklater's more underrated films, and just what I like about Linklater most of all, like, he's like Danny Boyle in a way, like David Fincher. Like, he can do all these different types of movies. He just doesn't have to stick himself to one specific genre in general. He can do all these different kinds of movies. Like, this is the same guy that directed School of Rock and Bad News Bears. Would you have guessed that this is the same guy that didn't make those movies? Would you guess what the same guy that made the Before Sunrise trilogy? No. I mean, that's the great thing about Richard Linklater, is that he works in so many different areas of genres all across the board that he could pretty much do anything and it could work very well. And this is definitely one of those prime examples of where it works very well. And I think it's very well done. Definitely one of the more underrated movies of the year that came out, because it did not get the best reviews overall. I mean, it got a lot of positive reviews in general, but it was not a big financial hit either. But it's a movie I really like a lot. I do recommend it, indeed. If you want to see some really great performances from all these actors, it's definitely worth it. Scanner Darkly really is definitely worth a watch. And so with all that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. Next week, two movies that are not really all that great in general. We have the Wayans Brothers follow-up to White Chicks, which can't be that bad in general, like compared to White Chicks, but Little Man we'll take a look at. Essentially, it's just a big screen version of the Bugs Bunny cartoon with Baby Finster, if you ever saw that one, but we'll delve more into that on the next episode. We'll also take a look at Owen Wilson, starring as the third wheel in the relationship between Matt Dillon and Kate Hudson in the comedy You, Me, and Dupree. So we'll take a look at both of those movies on the next episode, and we'll take a look at them tomorrow. Hopefully we'll find a good one in one of the two. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the place on the next page, check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe button, and notification button so you get updates on when new videos come out, because we post every day. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and until then, take care.